Hello and welcome to the guys from the MRC. You join me tonight for the Infinity Series, and this is League 2A, round 7. And as you can see, we are at Trial Mountain. We are here for an hour-long race in Group 4 Machinery. And after 10 minutes of qualifying, Scott put it on pole. Osman is in second, Phil in third, fourth is James, and fifth we have Jim, sixth we have Wiz, seventh we have Mark, eighth we have Brucey, rocking a new livery for the rest of the season for the Lexus boys. In 8th we have Ice, in 9th we have Stuffy, in 10th place we have Golden Brownie, in 11th we have Gary, in 12th we have Smokey, and 13th we have Smokey. I've got the wrong numbers there somewhere. In 14th we have Graphics, and in 15th we have Surfer. 15 drivers tonight. I think it was Wacky that was not available for this race, and I'm just going to make sure that I am live and everyone can hear me, because I've just done this and it wasn't working. So let me just double check everything. Live. Yep, cool. We are good to go. Right, so let's get these guys underway. Start from Scott's point of view, and away we go at Trial Mountain for round 7. And up to turn 1, they span 3-4 wide. It looks like coming up to the first turn. James gets up into first place. Scott gets a little bit of a hit there from Wiz, but I think that's more of a racing incident. Doesn't look like Scott takes anyone else out in the process, which is pretty good driving there, and to not take anyone out. Last thing you want to be doing in the opening stages of the race. So let's jump back up to the front after that turn 1 mayhem. James now leads, I'd say by about a second or so, over Jim, who's just ahead of Phil in third, Wiz in fourth. Osman dropped down to fifth, starting on second place, alongside Scott. So the two front guys at the beginning of the race have dropped back down to 5th and 8th respectively, but Osman there goes into the inside of Wiz. Wiz keeps it round the outside. Looks like Jim's under threat there. Everyone's making lots of action going on through the field on lap 1 here. Brucey and Graphics going sideways, coming through that right-hander before downhill here. Staffy there, Surfer, Smokey and Golden at the back. So Golden's not had the greatest of starts, from I think it was 11th down to 15th. But James comes across the line to finish the first lap in first. I think started in 4th place, so that's a nice little jump up there for James, with Jim and Phil. These three are stretching away from Wiz at the moment. Osman followed closely behind, with everyone else in hot pursuit of 4th place at the moment. Phil's gone wide. Is that a little? Is he just gone in too hot through the left-hander, the dipper? Looks like he does, yeah. He just runs it too hot there, runs it onto the grass, taps the ball, doesn't get any damage, luckily, there for Phil. So it's going to allow Wiz to close the gap up to Phil. And so this is all line astern here from back of Wiz. There's a bit of a gap between Graphics and Brucey, but not much, to be fair. Looked like there's a bit of an incident behind with these guys. What happened here? Tom gets it into the wall. Golden took avoiding action, but Surfer went into the back of Tom. Don't think there was much there that either Surfer or Golden could do to avoid Tom into that right-hander out of the tunnel. But James there with just stretching out his legs a little bit, looks like over Jim. So that Genesis is good down the straights. It probably will end up burning through its tyres at some point in this race, because it is a heavy old beast to stop to get around these sets of fairly fast flowing track. To be fair, with only a few slower corners near the end of the lap. Jim there in third, Jim in second, sorry, Phil in third. Yeah, so Wiz has been able to just close that gap up to Phil after that little off he had up to the turn 4 tunnel. Marksman there in fifth, Mark 6th, Gary 7th. So Gary looks like he's made up quite a few places from the start of the race as well. He's on racing softs, so he's probably going to try and make a few moves up the field, with a few of us being on the mediums, to make them soft tyres really work for him in the early stages of the race. Ice in 8th, Graphics in 9th, so Graphics from, I think it's 14th on the grid, has worked his way up to 9th, so fairly good opening 2 laps there for Graphics. And Brucey there in the middle of the 2 Toyota Supras. So Scott's dropped down from first place all the way to 12th in 2 laps. He's probably screaming in his helmet there, inside his helmet, to what the hell could he have done to deserve this. But having a good clean battle here is Scott and Brucey. Scott does get past Brucey up to the back straight. Brucey's keeping him honest through there. Golden Brownie's just a little bit off the back. Brucey pulls out to the side, but I don't think Brucey's going to be able to do much. I think Scott's going to be getting Staffy's slipstream. I don't think the Lexus has got the pace to pull all the way past Scott. So let's keep on board, but Brucey does just get his nose chopped off there by Scott, so Scott moves up to 11th place and keeps it. So after the little incident Smokey and Surfer have had just over a lap and a bit ago, has dropped them off the back of the pack. Surfer's on hard, so Surfer could be going for an alternative strategy here. So I think everyone's either on mediums or softs, so he could be going for a very long first stint here is Surfer, but James there pulling a little bit more. Oh, Phil's up into second place now. I probably missed that one by been looking at everyone else fighting positions. But it looks like Pirate Jim gets a better run out of that turn 3 up the hill than Phil, and fights him straight back into turn 4, the tunnel. So that's going to allow James just to pull a little bit of an advantage over these two with them fighting, but it's going to allow Wiz and Osman to close the gap up to second place. They have just pulled a little bit of a gap over Mark at the moment, who has got Gary, Ice and Graphics in hot pursuit of that Mercedes rear end, who's doing a fairly good job to keep them all behind. So we know the McLaren is fast in a straight line, but Gary moves to the inside of Mark coming into the hairpin. Mark gets a little bit of a touch from ice there, but does help Mark with the drive coming up the hill, who's going to get it into the sweeping left right there, but Gary keeps ahead of Mark as we come down to the last couple of corners of the lap. So that's, and Wiz has been overtaken by Osman. That wouldn't have been too long ago, I don't think. Yeah, down into the hairpin itself. Osman was just obviously close enough to get the slipstream to pull alongside, and Wiz not been able to defend it. So we jump back to where we were a moment ago. So James still out in first, with Phil back into second place. Let's have a look back, because I have missed both Phil getting past. So Phil gets a good drive coming onto the back straight and just pulls alongside Jim. Does Jim try and think about fighting back into the hairpin? No, he doesn't, he just slips in behind him. So jump back to the end of lap 4 where we were. So a couple of positions near the front being swapped around between Phil and Jim, and then Osman and Wiz on that lap. Gary's obviously got ahead of Mark as well. So obviously he's dropped Mark into the clutches of ice and graphics. So as I say, graphics has done well, starting from 14th up to 9th place. Scott's got ahead of his teammate. So there's that team orders of let Scott go, because he's quicker, but he gets it wrong, gone into the wall on turn 5. It means he loses 2 positions to his teammate and Brucey, and Golden Brownie's there in for the scrap to try and make something of it, but with Scott up on the inside line, not much the 2 Lexus boys can do. Got Golden Brownie there trying to make it, looks like they're going to make it 3 wide. Let's jump on board. Cars to the right of me and cars to the left. Scott's got absolutely swamped there by the 2 Lexus boys, but nothing he could do there. But Golden Brownie looks like he's made 2 positions up there in the main straight, but now it's 3 wide again coming back up. Golden Brownie did not have a very good corner there at the hairpin, so Brucey's now into 11th, but all of this, it's letting Staffy escape. He's already pulled about a second ahead of these 3 fighting for this half a lap since the incident that Scott had at turn 5, the right hand of out of the tunnel. So Staffy, yeah, as I say, been able to break away from these 3, all still fighting. A few different lines there through the last couple of corners. On to the start finish straight they go. Brownie's picked up a 1 second penalty. I think that was probably cutting one of the corners at the end of the lap there a bit too much, but all this fighting is going to allow Smoky Tom to catch up to the back of Golden Brownie, Scott and Brucey. Surfer there. So it looks like he's doing a completely different strategy, saving fuel, trying to save his tyres, compared to be fair, they're about the same as Tom's medium tyre wear and fuel, to be fair. I think he's used a tiny bit more fuel, so we'll have to see what the strategy is for Surfer when he does come into the pit. But with all that fighting, we have missed a change for the lead. Sorry for the skipping back, but so it's coming at the end of lap 5. Phil gets a better apex, gets a better drive coming into the chicane at the end of the lap. Looks like Phil's going to be on the inside for the first bit of the chicane, left-hander. James not really been able to make the fight back of the chicane, so that's Phil up into first place of the race. So he's caught a fair old bit on that lap to gain over James. 1:59, so it's the fastest lap. James over 2 minutes and 7. So yeah, 1.4 seconds that lap. Phil gained over James and made the overtake as well. So yeah, Phil absolutely on a flyer at the moment. So let's put these three, a nice little group here for the battle for first place. Osman there leading the rest of the pack, with Gary, Wiz, Mark, Ice and Graphics all following. So we've got 4th to 9th place all in a line of each other. Stuffy there obviously pulled away a bit from the 3 guys behind, and obviously a bit of a gap to the guys in front of him, so he's a bit of a lone ranger at the moment. But we are only just over 11 minutes into the race. We've still got a long way to go yet. Brucey still fighting with Scott. Golden Brownie's either picked up another penalty or hasn't served that one yet. I don't think he would have served it, because he would have got it at the end of lap 5, so yeah. But this is a afternoon race, so we will be heading into darkness, I do believe around halfway into the race. So this track completely changes in this, so you really can't see the apexes. But Brucey there still under threat from Scott, and Golden Brownie's there coming into effect, but you can see he's going to have to serve his penalty in a minute. But it does look like the inside of Scott, and Scott's looking up the inside of Brucey's. Look at these Brownie's gone round the outside of Scott. Scott's not been able to get the power down as early, but Golden Brownie pulls out the way so that Tom can pull past and close up to the back of Scott and Brucey. But as we move up to the front, Phil pulling a little bit of a lead over James and Jim. Osman there still in 4th, Gary 5th, Wiz back down to 6th, Mark in 7th. Graphics has made a move on Ice. We've been on the last lap looking at the lap times, so that's going to allow Staffy just to close up a little bit more to the back pack, or back of the main pack I should say. And you got Brucey with Scott and Tom right all over the back of Scott, so Tom's done well to catch up to these guys after that little incident he had at the exit of turn 5 with Surfer and Brownie. Brownie's dropped off to the back now. Serving that penalty really has killed the momentum for Brownie at the moment. Obviously probably lost a little bit of that slipstream, which is pretty vital for these 2 main straights around this track. But I will, before it gets too dark, do a quick lap with Phil. Obviously if it gets dark you will not be able to see a thing. So as we come around the chicane at the end of the lap and go across the line, obviously this track used to be in, I think it was Gran Turismo 4, maybe 3 and 5, but they have made the straights a lot longer than they used to be, and the last sector is a little bit different. But you've got the turn 1 here, a little lift off the brakes, and then you pin it for that right-hander over the top of the hill, then you get to the little dip at the bottom, up towards turn 4 into the tunnel. Very long left, longer than you think, and you come down to turn 5, 90-degree right-hander, and then you got a little flick left here and then another right-hander, which very deceptive. You think you can get on the power a lot earlier than you can, but you really can't. I'll keep it right here, and then gets close to the ball on the exit. Phil does that very nicely there. And then you've got another long straight. Have a look back, you can see James and Jim. Obviously it's getting a bit foggy here. Yeah, Trial Mountain. So there's that sun starting to set, the mist is coming in through the trees, and as you come down to the left hand hairpin at the end of the back straight, see the big tree, and then you can plant the throttle to get up this hill. You've got a flick right. This left hander is not really of a left, it's more of a braking point for this right hander, which is a little bit off camber downhill, and then you go down this little steep bit here into this left hander again, and then coming to the chicane at the end of that, there's a pit entry on the left hand side. So we've got a little left right chicane here to end the lap, and that is a lap of Trial Mountain. Thank you, Phil, for that. Yeah, thought I'd get that in before it gets too dark. So Phil there, what lap time was that? What did we done with him? Was it going to be a purple lap? No, it wasn't a purple lap, but not a bad lap at all. 2 minute dead. Jim still in second with James still in second with Jim in third, Osman in fourth, with Gary closely followed behind in fifth. So the two McLarens having a very good race so far, but obviously we know they're both on, I think they're both on the soft tyres. Yeah, they're both on softs, so they will have to use the medium tyres at some point, or the harder tyres depending on their strategy, for the rest of the race, or even another stop. Wiz there in sixth with Mark just behind. Ice has dropped off the back of these guys, but Staffy has moved up. We haven't lost anyone in the race. Ooh, graphics. What's happened with graphics? He has been in the pit. Lap time and new tyres. I'm saying he's been in the pit, so that's why Staffy was up a position from 10th. So that is graphics. I believe he was on the soft tyres as well. Down to 15th. But obviously that's the strategy that the Porsche guys have given him. So Staffy has moved up to 9th, caught up to the back of Ice, doing some pretty solid lap times there. 2 minutes 0.6 the last two times round. Ice has been in 2 minute ones, 0.1, 0.3, so catching half a second a lap the last two laps in a row. Scott has been able to pull away from Brucey. Brucey had not the greatest of laps in lap 8, a 2 minute 8. Something must have happened with Brucey there that I have missed. So it's allowed Golden Brownie to get ahead of him. So obviously then it's allowed Scott to, so that little group of 3 and 4 have slowly broken down, and they're all kind of running the same amount of gap between them, so they're carrying on. So Smoky Tom is into the pit. He's had enough of his medium tyres. He's about halfway through his fuel, so yeah, just over 19 minutes he's had so far on medium tyres. So Phil still out in the lead after getting past James into the chicane at the end of that, but Jim has got ahead of James. Gary gone for the move up the inside of Osman into the hairpin. Does he make it stick coming up the hill? Let's have a look. He does. So that's Gary up into 4th place now. So Osman back down to 5th, but so James has also dropped down to 3rd as well. With so these guys are swapping and changing. And who was that dived in? I think that was Jim. That is Jim. He's dived into the pits. So that's going to put James back up into 2nd place. But his racing mediums are dying of death. And Mark's come into the pit. So the 2 Mercedes come into the pit at the end of lap 10. Obviously their strategies are working together. And they're not doing alternate strategies to see which one works out for them at the end of the race. But Osman there with a half-second penalty, which will probably serve the next time round if he doesn't come in the pit, because the start-finish penalty line's on the start-finish straight. Wiz there doing a bit of lawn mowing in his Korean boat. Not really what you want to be doing, but obviously when you've got not much of your front right tyre left, you've probably got not much grip going up that turn 3 left hand at the dip there. But Staffy is now up into 6th place with everyone pitting at the moment, so he's got past Ice. And moving on forward, Scott there with a half-second penalty that he's picked up somewhere probably at the beginning of the lap, cutting the second corner over that brow of the hill. Brucey's got back ahead of Golden Brownie, so Golden Brownie didn't have a very good lap 10, so the 2 Lexus boys keep swapping positions. But Pirate Jim, who was in 2nd place when he pitted, has come out in 11th. A bit of clean air between him and Golden Brownie ahead, so fresh set of softs, he can really push them and get the most out of them whilst he's got clean air and not having a fight with anyone. But the sun's come back through the clouds here at Trial Mountain, so it is slowly setting on the horizon. Surfer there in 12th. We've got Mark, who's now pitted, coming out in 13th. He was in the battle. Sorry. Oh, he was in the battle for 5th place, I believe it was, with graphics behind. Tom has pitted as well. So he's obviously, it looks like he's miles behind, but when everyone else pits, then it will soon all close back up. Golden Brownie has come into the pit, same as Brucey and Ice. So them 3 are into the pit. Brucey and Golden Brownie have, and Ice have no front right. Obviously it's now Rob and Dam. Fresh new set of boots for them 3 are coming. So that's put Pirate Jim up to 8th at the moment. So as I say, we'll see where Pirate Jim comes out with the others in front once they have pitted. So it's a bit of a funny time when everyone is pitting, knowing where everyone is and what the strategies are going to be. But I think we know Surf is potentially trying to go for a one-stop race here. So we're going to starting on the hards. I'm just trying to see if there's anyone close here. Osman has got past James there, and Gary is absolutely flying. And so we have a McLaren 1-2 at the moment. So they're really going, some of these McLarens. As you see, James dives into the pit. So he's done 12 laps, his tyres are dead. I think a lot of these guys will run their tyres until they are dead. Wiz comes in as well, so the 2 Genesis boys doing the same as the Mercedes and Lexus, of sticking to the same strategy. But it looks like Gary's been able to catch up a little bit too. Phil, yeah, 2 minute 0.4, 2 minute 1.2, so yeah, he's caught up about 8 tenths that lap. He's slowly catching him up, his teammate, which obviously is good for Team McLaren. Osman there in third. Has been at the front for the majority of the race. He did drop back a little bit at the start, down to 5th. I think that's just more due to the nature of the slowness of the car getting off the line compared to the likes of the Genesis with all the power. Safi now up to 4th place. He's doing fairly well on his tyres as well. He's burning out his front, his rear right more than he's burning out his front right. So being very nice and safe on his tyres, where Scott's been obviously having to push a little bit more to try and catch up after all the fighting that he had with Brucey and Brownie near the beginning of the race. Obviously dropping down from 1st to 12th at the beginning for Scott as well. So, but Pirate Jim using them softs to his advantage of a 158.8. So really it's going to be taking a little bit of his tyre life out, but it could be worth it at the end if he can make that gap and pass Phil with the undercut. It's going to be a good 3 laps or so at the moment of undercut over Phil, and he is 0.3 of a second up this lap as well, Purple, so he could be going quicker again. So we'll have a look, see what his lap 13 is when we get back to him in a minute. James comes out in 7th, so yeah, he's lost a lot of time to Jim, seeing that Jim came in literally just in front of James all of 3 laps ago. He's lost about, it's hard to tell because he's on his out lap. He's just picked up a half-second penalty, probably for the exit of that last, or second to last corner. Mark there in 8th, Surfer in 9th, Wiz in 10th, followed closely by Graphics in 11th. Ice there in 12th. Yeah, so Surfer's got up Surfer to 9th. Ice there in 12th. Brucey and Golden Brownie there. Not having the best of races for the new liveried Lexus, but maybe their strategy will come good at the end. We shall see. Smoky Tom there. Let's say he looked like he was miles off. We still have the, I think it's the front. Well, we've got front 5 to pit. So yeah, Pirate Jim technically is first, projected first, but he did set a purple lap again on lap 13, 158.5. So he did keep nearly that 3 tenths, oh no, more than 3 tenths up. He made a little bit more on the end of the lap when we left him. But will Phil come into the pit? Phil comes into the pit. Gary goes for another lap, and so does Osman. Osman's still got a fair bit of tyre left, so he's making his mediums last nearly half an hour. Will Osman be trying for the 1-stop? If he is, he's doing very well at it. I think Staffy has gone through as well. I think he'll be trying to make the 1-stop work as well if he can. Scott comes into the pit, so I think burning them tyres up to make it to the end, or make it up to the back of Staffy, has burnt through his tyres. Here comes James to serve his penalty, so will that drop him into the clutches of Mark? Once he has served it, it is in the accelerator zone out of the last corner. Let's see, Mark, I don't think he's going to be able to make that gap up to the back of James before turn 1. Doesn't look like he is, no. So we had Phil come in and Scott. So Phil's come out. He's filled up. He's put mediums on. They both started on softs, so he's definitely going to be pushing this to the end of the race. I don't see why he would want to be stopping again. Not on a full tank of fuel anyway. He's come out quite a bit behind Jim. You see on the track map there, Jim just coming to the middle of the back straight. And if I jump to Phil, He's in just through the first sector. So yeah, there's a fair long way behind at the moment is Phil, but you can see when you have a pit stop, you lose about 40 seconds or so. So Jim has to really open up that gap to make it over Phil. But he has joined in behind Graphics and Surfer, and Gary's come into the pit. So Gary's been able to stretch out them tyres one lap longer than Phil was. Staffy's also come into the pit. So let's see where that's going to put. I should put Pirate Jim in front of them too, that's for sure. Osman's still going, so he's made half an hour on medium tyres. Looks like he's probably doing another 2 laps, I would say. Probably get to lap 17 before he has to think about pitting, which is incredible, seeing that I know that the Lexus could only do about 11 to 12 laps on the mediums, so it shows the driving style and potentially the lightness of the car really been able to be used to effect there for Osman in first place. So yeah, Pirate Jim in second, James back up to third at the moment, going a little bit wide there, using his lawnmower skills again, coming out of turn 3 up the hill towards turn 4. Mark in fourth, would have seen that, giving him a quick flash to say, yeah, I know you got dirty tyres, I'm coming for you. Wiz there in fifth, so the two Genesis boys aren't too far away from each other, the same as the Merc. Well, I suppose Jim's quite a bit further ahead. And is he? No, he's not too far ahead of Mark, so two Mercedes boys as well, doing fairly well at the front of the pack. Surfer there with Phil and Graphics all over his tailpipe. What's going to have a Phil there with a fresh set of mediums, has got a better drive coming onto the back straight. We'll jump on board with Surfer. There we go, that's the one I wanted. Graphics doesn't know which way he wants to go, coming into the hairpin. They're going 3 wide. Hopefully it doesn't end badly, but Phil makes the move up the inside of Surfer, and Graphics stays put in 8th place. So that's Phil has been released from Surfer now, so Gary's not going to, I don't think, be far behind. So Gary has definitely made up time on Phil in that pit stop sequence. Has Gary gone for a different strategy? No, he hasn't. I don't think he's put a little bit less fuel in. They've got about the same, so yeah. Gary's just obviously, I think, where Phil's been fighting with Graphics and Surfer, and Gary's had a bit of clear track. He's been able to catch up to the back of them fairly quickly. Looks like Graphics is going for a move down the outside of Surfer into turn 1. It's a brave move if you're going to make it stick. He does get it done. Does he keep it on the track? It's like Graphics does, but he's going to be slow. It looks like coming up the hill to turn 4. Surfer's having a look up the inside. Just push Graphics a little bit wide. Well, he doesn't push him, doesn't tap him, but just, yeah, Graphics gives racing room. And nice clean racing from these two here. And then Gary is just sat there watching, wondering where the hell he's going to go to try and get past both of these two as they're fighting. But it's allowed Phil to check out, but Graphics hits the wall, coming onto the back straight, giving him damage. Don't want to hit the other wall, that was going to slow down even more Graphics. But that's what let Gary get past at least one of the two guys that Phil was fighting with. But Osman, as you see, has come into the pit. 3 litres of fuel left in the tank. But Gary has now got past Surfer, so he's going to be trying to catch up to the back of his teammate Phil to fight for 6th place. There was a lot of tyre squealing then, but no real action. You've got the two Nissans here, Ice and Surfer. I think Surfer, he's going for another lap. He's got flashing fuel, but he's going to go for another lap. So will he let Ice go through down the main straight? But obviously having graphics right behind him isn't going to be really helpful. But looks like Ice done the old switcheroo on Surfer to get past. These three battling up to turn one. His graphics going to try and go around the outside again of Surfer and make it stick. No, he doesn't. He sits behind and just keeps watching. But Osman has come out in 7th place, right in between Gary and Ice. So couldn't have timed that pit stop for him much better. Didn't want to come out behind this group. Seeing that he is, looks like he is potentially battling for first place at the moment. He hasn't put much fuel in, but obviously thinks that's enough to get to the end of the race, because pitting about 35 minutes into a race, you should think that you should be able to make 75% worth of fuel last to the end of the race. Let's jump up to the front. Pirate Jim there. He set 2 of the fastest laps exactly the same time. Lap 13 and 15. That's pretty incredible stuff. So yeah, Pirate Jim here. He's not going to be long until he's back into the pit. He's got about 15% worth of fuel and about 25, about 30-35% worth of his front right. So yeah, I reckon he's got about another 2 laps, maybe 3, before he comes into the pit for the second time. James has eaten through his front right, really gone through that one. Same as Mark as well. They've gone through it, but James has definitely gone through it quite a bit. Wiz there in 4th. Kind of a bit of a lonely second stint here for Wiz since the pit stops, but been able to just set some solid lap times and to keep up with the guys up in front. Maybe close a little bit on them when they do start to fight, it looks like, because Mark isn't too far behind James at the moment. Phil there in 5th place. So yeah, they're going to be going for the one stop by the looks of things. I do believe they were on softs to start with. I'm sure they were, both the McLaren boys. Osman there with a half-second penalty, so that's going to put him into the clutches of Gary when he serves it at the end of the lap. So Gary's going to be licking his lips there, going, thank you very much for getting that penalty. I'm going to take clip P6 off you when you serve it. Graphic there, oh sorry, Ice there in 8th. He's been able to get oh yeah, we saw him get past Surfer on the main straight. Has Surfer come in yet? Yes, Surfer has come in. He's gone for the racing softs. So obviously the hard to soft strategy is what Surfer thinks is best for the car. So Graphics there in 9th. Closely followed by Staffy in 10th. So Brucey there in 11th. Was that someone coming into the pit? It was Graphics. He's got no fuel, so he's going to be putting on the racing softs to the end of the race. Let's put Golden Brownie up into 12th. No, he'll be in 11th when he gets, once he's drifted it through the last corner. There we go, great. Golden into 11th. Scott will be up to 12th by the looks of it. Graphics still isn't even in the pit box yet. I don't believe Surfer will get to there before Graphics has changed tyres and filled up what he needs to be in the race. Smoky Tom there, obviously he's pitted again. He's just come out, so he's not too far ahead of Jim, but Jim will be pitting this lap. No doubt about it. You're not going to make that fuel last any longer than the quarter of the lap that he's got left. And whilst he's going to be coming into the pit, I'm going to have a quick drinks break, and then we'll finish off the last 20 minutes of the race. So, Pirate Jim, Mark and James all come into the pit at the end of lap 20. Wiz goes through for another lap, and so it gets very dark here, and that's why I wanted to do a lap guide early on in the race. I may have missed a few overtakes and a bit of battling by doing so, but if I try and do a lap guide now, we will just see a pair of headlights going around a bit of tarmac. We won't be able to see much of the track at all. So Phil has now been promoted to second place, and I think he's doing a one stop, so he will be in first, I believe, because Wiz isn't too far ahead. Osman in third, Gary in fourth. So the one stoppers at the moment are second, third, fourth, and Staffy in fifth. Brucey will be coming into the pit, going by his tyre wear. He's not going to make 20 minutes last with that little tyre life left, the same as ice. So yeah, the one stoppers seem to be working at the moment. Obviously with it coming night time, the track starts to cool down. If you're on the wrong tyre at the wrong time, you do go quite a bit slower. You see, being on mediums, the ice has dropped quite a bit. I know they are worn, but he's dropped from doing 2 minute lap times to 2 minute 3s, just because of the track temperature. Pirate Jim has now come out in 8th place after his pit stop. He obviously is on an out lap, and he's come out in clean air again. So Jim has worked the pit stops to his favour so far, but he has got quite a bit of catching up to do. Looks like Wiz has now just come into the pit as well. So look at the track map top right of the screen. You can see that Phil and Osman are coming into the chicane at the end of the lap, and Pirate Jim is a little red triangle. He's probably about 12 or so seconds behind the leaders, with 17 minutes to go. So yeah, you've got to be catching over a second a lap, or just under a second a lap, to get up to them, and then obviously he's got to make an overtake at the end when he's going to have fairly worn tyres. Golden Brownie there in 9th place. It looks like he's going to be coming into the pit sometime soon, probably the next lap, because this fuel light is flashing red. Mark in 9th place, followed closely by Scott and James, who has just come out of the pit. So yeah, Mark pitted. Did Mark pit that? Yeah, Mark pitted the same as James, same lap, into lap 20. So yeah, they made Scott into a little sandwich, seeing what they can try and do with Scott, who is doing the one stop, looks of it. So this will be a race to the end between these three, but obviously James having racing softs and spanking brand new set to Scott's half-worn mediums. I think James won't take too long to get past Scott at some point. There he goes, pulls to the left, absolutely flies past Scott. So the soft tyres really helping get the drive out of the corner. Wiz there in 12th place. Surfer in 13th with a 1 second penalty, with Graphics right behind him, also with a 1 second penalty. So they don't want to leave each other out, so they thought they'd both get their 1 second penalty. Smoky Tom there, clearly not having the race that he wanted here. And I think he qualified in, I think it was either 12th or 13th, so not the greatest of qualifying for Tom, but obviously might have just been the track. Not a massive fan of it, so, but at least he keeps on going. We'll score some points for finishing the race. But Golden Brownie, Ice and Brucey all in the pit at the same time again. So they came into the pit, I think it was at the end of lap 12, no, lap 11 I think it was. So they've done 11-11, so they'll be on the softs now probably to the end of the race. All about the same amount of fuel as well. So that's allowed Wiz to get up to 9th place. He loves a bit of grass cutting, does Wiz, going up to turn 4. It's not going to make you go any quicker. Yeah, Scott's been left quite a bit there in 1 lap from James. James on a 1:59, where Scott done a 2-minute 1.5. So what is James doing? Let's jump on board with James. Does he get it a bit too... It gets too much. That's what happens when you get the power on too early. And there's a ball on the exit of the corner, so that's going to allow Scott, who I said just lost just over 2 seconds that last lap on him, to get past ahead of James, and it's going to allow Wiz to catch up to the back of James as well. Will there be a change for position between these two? Looks like there will be, because James is still carrying damage. He's now got rid of that damage. So yeah, change for the Genesis boys. I think that's the first time Wiz has actually been ahead of James for the race. Brucey there in 10th, Ice in 11th, 12th for Graphics, 13th for Surfer, Golden Brownie in 14th. Obviously they've Ice, Golden and Brucey all pitted, and this is their out lap, so it does mean that these guys are fairly close to one another, but obviously within doing so they're going to allow Brucey to pull away slightly from them three. So we'll jump up to the front. We haven't been up here for a while. Osman and Phil are going to be battling to the end of the race. They've both got enough tyre, both got enough fuel, so it's now just going to be a straight dogfight to see who is going to get to that checkered flag first. I think Phil might have the legs over Osman on the straight, but Osman's closing up, but I don't think it's enough for the hairpin. I think Osman's got it on the corners and Phil's got it on the straights. He really didn't close up much down that straight, and he is fairly close, so it would be the strongest slipstream he could ask for, but couldn't make it work into the hairpin at the end of the back straight. Gary then third, dropped off the back of the front two, but still a solid performance there for Gary. Normally he's battling with Brucey. If you find one of them, you normally find the other fairly close behind. Staffy there in 4th, so the one stop working out fairly well for Staffy at the moment. Pirate Jim there, well, he's gone faster again, 1:58.498. So yeah, using them soft tyres again to set even faster lap times. I think it's only a tiny bit quicker. Yeah, it's about 0.014 quicker than his fastest lap that he had done. But he's catching up to the back of Staffy, trying to see if he can get onto a step on the podium. You can see Gary just ahead of him coming into turn 4, and Mark there is Mercedes teammate of Jim in 6th place, Wiz in 7th, James in 8th, Scott in 9th. It's going to be tight for Scott, I think, to make it to the end on that set of tyres. 10 minutes to go. It's going to be a bit touch and go, I feel. Brucey there in 10th. He has been able to pull away a little bit from ice and graphics with these two fighting. Surf is back into the pit, so he clearly couldn't make them soft tyres work. Back onto another set of softs to the end of the race. We'll make them work, that's for sure. 10 minutes is only about 5 laps or so of the race to go. He comes out just ahead of Smokey as well, so obviously a bit frustrating there for Surfer, trying to make their hard tyres work at the first stop, well, first stint I should say, and just didn't make the softs work. It looks like there's a hell of a battle here for 3rd place. I'll just click on the map, but you've got a battle for 1st and a battle for 3rd. Gary, Staffy and Jim. But Osman's not going to make a move on Phil. Yeah, I'm just keeping my eye kind of on the standings on the left to see if any of them change between 3rd, 4th and 5th. Osman there just trying to keep his nose clean, but he is looking this way and that on Phil. Does he go for a drive up to... he does. He gets the drive up, but Phil's there still on the left hand side. He's going to have the inside line, but Osman's going to have the drive coming out. So will Osman be able to keep this with the power of the McLaren? Goes, pulls to the left. He's had his one move, full defence. Phil pulls in behind him. So Osman's now had his one move. He can't defend coming into this corner. He doesn't, but he stays in 1st place. So that is Osman with a cracking move. I think it was that turn 6 and 7 on Phil, and then hangs it round the outside coming onto the back straight. But Staffy's got ahead of Gary. I saw that happen on the standings. It's really hard to see in the dark, but yeah, gets the slipstream, gets past Gary. So that's both McLarens losing a place this lap. So not what the McLaren team engineers wanted to see, but maybe they can fight back on the next time they come down the back straight, because it seems to be where everyone's making the moves. So obviously it's the longest straight on the track as well. Obviously Osman's a exception to the rule of making a... There goes Gary for a dive up the inside of the chicane. Oh, I wasn't paying much attention on that one, but really late dive, but he makes the apex, so you got to give it to him. I don't think Staffy saw that one coming, but that's a cracking move there by Gary. If it was an overtake of the season, that would definitely be going in there. Can't fault the determination of Gary there to make his way back past Staffy, so see if he can hold on to that for the next 6.5 minutes of the race to go. I'll just quickly... Oh, Staffy's picked up a penalty, and is Jim going to go for a move up the inside of Staffy? If I was Jim, I'd sit behind and wait until he serves the penalty and then try and catch up to the back of Gary with the last couple of minutes left of the race. But he is fighting him, looking this way and that way to try and get past Staffy. He's got the better drive onto the back straight. It looks like he has a little bit, but that Supra's obviously going to have the slipstream of Gary up ahead. So Jim's going to struggle, I think, to get past on straight line speed, but he has pulled alongside as they come into the hairpin. Jim does keep it on the inside and gets past Staffy. So that's Jim up to 4th place. Now obviously target acquired of Gary ahead. Let's see if he can make this 2-stop work over the 1-stoppers of Osman, Phil, Gary and Staffy. So let's have a look. Osman has pulled out a bit of a gap over Phil at the moment. Yeah, Phil had a 2:02 lap 26. So not the greatest of laps for Phil. So all of his laps have been either in the 2 minutes dead or the 1:59s. So an anomaly there for Phil. But Jim there, he's definitely caught up that gap to Gary. I'll quickly jump down the field and see if there's any other action. And Wiz there has done the fastest lap of the race of 1:58.378. James there. Oh, them two both set their fastest laps on lap 25. James going grass cutting. He's taken Wiz's role of using the lawnmower out of turn 3 up towards turn 4. Brucey into 9th place. I think that will be where Brucey will finish. Same as Ice and Golden Brownie. They're all very well spread out. Graphics is in the pit. Surfer there. So we might have a battle with Surfer for the last couple of laps to the end of the race. Scott is sat in the pit. And we've lost Smokey Tom. I think that was more of a internet issue that we lost Smokey for during the race, which is a shame to see. But out in front, his teammate Osman, with looks like there's going to be another 2 laps to go, because they're going to cross the line with 3 minutes to go left of the race, so they're going to get this lap and one more. I don't think some will be starting their last lap when they come across the line the next time round. So Phil, what was the lap time there? Yeah, Phil's not just dropped off a couple of temps the last couple of laps as well, so giving Osman a bit of breathing room. Jim has got up to 3rd. Let's have a quick look to see. It looks like he's going to get it into the hairpin. He goes left, right. Go whichever side you want when you're behind the guy. You just can't keep moving when you're at the trying to defend, but keeps it tight. Gary runs it wide, hits the wall. Not what you want to be doing when you're defending for a position, but that's going to give Staffy a chance of looking at Gary. So let's jump back to where we were, crossing the line. So yeah, that's giving Jim 3rd place with his 2-stop strategy. So apart from Phil and Osman, it's worked fairly well for Jim here. As long as he can keep it in 3rd till the end of the race, which is what I say, another just under 2 laps left. Mark there in 6th. Who is there? It looks like he has been catching Mark, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to do anything about it. till the end of the race. I think there's about a 5-second gap. Mark is not too far behind Staffy, about 3 seconds or so, 3-4 seconds, but yeah, when you've only got a lap and a half to go, that's a big gap to catch up. James there in 8th, Brucey in 9th, Ice 10th, Golden in 11th with a half-second penalty, probably a turn 2 incident. But yeah, tyres are dying. Seeing that them three all came in at the same time, they're all around the same amount of tyre wear. Brucey, Ice and Golden. Surfer there with obviously an unlucky strategy there for Surfer. I think if he'd have gone to the mediums it probably would have worked out a lot better, but obviously having to make that extra pit stop really hasn't worked out for him. And the graphics there smashing into the wall, really not liking the he was doing so well, he was up to about 8th or 9th position, doing a bit of drifting now, his graphics. Yep, having a bit of fun, fresh set of boots, so why not try and burn them out. Yeah, I think Scott's had an issue there, but Osman, he's definitely lost time to Phil this lap, so as they're on the last lap, I will jump back to these guys in a second, because the guys are, so yes, oh, Staffy's got ahead of Gary. Let me just quickly did I see that? I can't remember if I saw that now. Oh no, I didn't see that. Yes, Staffy's got on the inside of Gary at the hairpin, and Gary does the same mistake of running into the ball, same as when Jim got past him, so that's allowed Staffy into 4th place. And we jumped back to where we were. I think we were about here. Yes, we were, because looking at the time. So Ice has been able to go around for another lap. So Golden Brownie comes along in 11th place. Seems to be happy with that. I think that was probably the best performance for the Lexus around here. Probably the best he could get out of it. Surfer coming across the line in 12th place. Says it right there, still getting it wrong. So yeah, the 2-stop not working too well for Surfer. Graphics still trying to burn his tyres out. Comes along the line in 13th. Scott's going to come along the line in 14th, it looks like. He's going to do a nice little, even though the guys are still racing behind, graphics are still going to have fun, but hopefully he doesn't get in the way of 1st and 2nd. I'll quickly jump back to see a little bit of a battle from these two from the hairpin. Wrong button. That's what I wanted. I don't think there's any, looking at the track map, there's no one really close, so I'll stick with these two to the start-finish line. But Phil's definitely been closing in last lap and this lap on Osman, so but Osman has no tyres left where Phil has got tyres, so that'll be why Phil's been able to catch up to Osman. Trying to put him off by a bit of flashing there. Does Phil look for the move? I think he tries. It's all about the drive out of the last corner now. Can Phil do it? Let's jump on board. Don't think he can. Osman claims 1st position for Trial Mountain. Phil in 2nd. Oh, on again. Pirate Jim comes across the line, finish in 3rd place. Staffy does keep ahead of Gary for 4th place. Gary in 5th. Mark comes along in 6th place. Wiz not far behind in 7th. James comes across in 8th. Brucey here coming out of the last corner in 9th place. So I think that was the best result for the Lexus guys we could have asked for and the car on the track, and Ice has run out of fuel to finish in 10th place. Obviously, if you have enjoyed the commentary, obviously please leave a like. Obviously, if you want to subscribe to the channel, obviously you get notified when I do a live. And there we go, Ice has finished in 10th. And yeah, so leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.